Hello, everyone. Kyra Schaefer here, As You Wish Publishing and asyouwishpublishing.com. I'm so happy that you're joining us today. I have got a wonderful and amazing special guest coming on in just a moment. But before I do that, I need to acknowledge that we have recently had a member walk into the light, I think we like to say here, and who has passed away from multiple brain tumors. Her name is Vicki High and Dr. Vicki High. And so I just want to send love out to our As You Wish community, as well as to her family and to everyone that has been involved in her care, giving her kindness and love and sweetness. And those of you who've been sending her love and light and energy and positivity, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being a part of her journey. And so we just want to honor everyone who has been a part of that. And thank you to the As You Wish family, As You Wish community for donating and for giving your like I said, time, energy, effort to her. We had a GoFundMe page, and I think that's still up to help with some of those lingering medical bills that are going to be there as well. So that's going to be out in our community. If you guys want to pitch in, even a few bucks would be amazing. But As You Wish family, you guys really came together. I think they raised almost $4,000 to help. So again, thank you so much. All right, so I want to go ahead and welcome our guest. She is one of our authors. She was in the book Inspirations and the Grateful Soul. She is an international best-selling author, and I'm going to give you her quick bio here. All right, so Elicia Raprager. Elicia is a contributing author to, just like I said, The Grateful Soul, The Art and Practice of Gratitude, and Inspirations, 101 Uplifting Stories for Daily Happiness. Her romantic short story, The Huron Suite, was featured in the July-August issue of Rack magazine. As a child, Elicia wrote and drew in her teen years. Both became passions. When her mental health declined, she returned to these hobbies. Although Elicia struggled, she challenged herself to remain positive. The best compliment Elicia can hear is, "You inspire me." And she does. She inspires many. Today, Elicia opens up about her mental health on her blog and social media and has been overwhelmed by encouragement and gratitude. She prioritizes self-care for mental and physical health. Share a Smile, Thriving in Life and Treatment is Elicia's first solo book. And to learn more about that, you can go out to eliciaraprager.com and follow her social media accounts. So we're going to talk today with Elicia, and I'm going to bring her on right now. Hey, I've introduced you.
Thank you for that lovely introduction. I appreciate
Yes.
it.
So welcome, Elicia. I think we just dive right in, right? With both feet, talking about mental health from your standpoint. What was it that started you on your journey?
What started on my journey was basically finding out that I had mental health conditions. There were signs when I was a child that I just didn't really notice, and going through the process and counseling, I wish I would have taken my poetry and journals that I had to a counselor years ago, because it could have gotten me on the right track a long time ago. But basically in 2000, I want to say 15, is when things started to get quite difficult for me, with stressors, and I just had trouble managing those things. But I went to counseling and I learned all kinds of coping skills and coping techniques, and I like to share those in my blog, as you mentioned, that website. Something that I like to do is naming objects that my counselor, Joe Harmon, showed me. And basically, when you're in a situation that you can't escape, maybe it's because you have social anxiety and you need to give a speech, or maybe you're working at cash register and there's just a huge line and you just need to get these people out. something you can do is just look around you, which is also good for grounding, and start naming the items in front of you. So for me, my phone, paintings on the wall, chair. And then if you don't have a whole lot in front of you, what you can do is start describing those items. And it just gets you in that mindset for a moment where you're not focusing on what's stressing you out. So you can just get your task done. And that's ultimately the goal with those situations.
Yes, it's so nice because human mental behavior is, if you have a goal, it doesn't matter really how we get to that goal, but if we don't have a goal, we can get off track or off kilter. So if we have the goal, it's like, I got to get grounded. Then the mind is going to find ways to do that. And this is a huge tool. This is a huge tool. That's something that I learned along the way from my coach as well. So, you're giving quite a gift here, because the thing that mine said was, look down at your feet. Where are your feet? Because you stay so up here, and it's like, okay, so now that can draw us into the present moment. Are your feet safe? No, my feet are pretty safe. They're all right. Everything is going to be okay. And then you kind of move up your body. And so, if you're in a dark room, you can always feel your feet. Where are they?
I like that. I have not heard that. Where are your feet? It makes sense though.
Yeah, it's a big thing. So Elicia, now are you going to have tools like this in your book that you have coming out?
Yes, I definitely share stories of how I use those tools and what I've learned. There's also journal prompts, which is a huge thing for me. Going back to the loss of Vicky, I know a lot of us are missing her. I lost my grandma almost a year ago, and I can't believe that I'm saying it's almost a year ago because it still seems very soon and fresh. But something that I did for a while was, just because I missed talking with her, was I pretended to write letters to her. And then my journaling would be about her and the things that I missed, the things that I loved, and having those nice memories. So journaling is another technique, and I know people sometimes really don't want to journal or they don't want to write. So another thing that you can do is, if you feel more comfortable just talking, and that way you don't have to get a pen and paper out and like commit to it, you can just open up a recording app and just talk it out, and you can listen to it later if you like.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And Janae, thank you for joining us. Janae, Janae, she's in Shannon's community, as well. So, as well as the As You Wish community. Morgan K is saying, so wonderful. Thank you guys for joining. Is that your mom? Oh, Morgan K. That is such a huge tool, is journaling. Let's talk a little bit about journaling, because that goes right into writing and authorship and connecting, because that's something that has helped me personally along the way. Is I have those I've got 25 journals from my childhood years, and it's just crap. It's like, this boy doesn't like me and whatever. I don't even like him either. He pulled my pigtail, kind of thing. But some of it is okay. It's okay. Y'all guys, don't try to go gold mining in your old childhood journals. Okay, you're not going to find any professionally edited content. I promise you. But don't be too hard on yourself either. So let's talk a little bit about journaling. What benefits do you feel like you have experienced? And I know you mentioned a couple from your journaling experience and getting things out. I know it does feel like ripping off a Band-Aid when you're like, I have to make this thing, I have to make this thing real, kind of thing. What do I have written there? I've got this whole book. I think I mini journal constantly. I've always got some kind of idea rolling around in this bat cage. But but there's so many benefits. What are some of the things that you've experienced around journaling that could help our listeners here?
Journaling helps me to process my thoughts and my emotions. It's something that's important to me to make sure that I'm regulating my emotions. Something I used to struggle with a lot was having to leave meetings at work because I'd suddenly just break out into tears or I'd get so nervous about something. So, emotion regulation and thought processing is a huge part for me. Also, organization. I use it a lot just to do to-do list. I call that mind dump, just writing everything out. Sometimes it's just a to-do list. Um, so that's definitely a benefit for me. Also, something that I often say is I write better than I speak. So thank you all for listening to me today. And a lot of the
Oh,
times
you're
you
incredibly
better
clear.
understand
You're
something.
incredibly clear. I
Oh,
get you. Yeah, Cheryl,
thank you,
Albus
Sarah.
Grode. I said that totally wrong. She says, hello, Alicia. Those are some great tools that I will probably use. So yeah, keep going.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I hope
Yeah.
it's helpful. No problem at all. But yeah, something that I often joke about, but there's a lot of truth in it, is I sometimes don't know how I feel about something entirely until I write it out, because sometimes just the obvious is coming through. But sometimes you'll get the other feelings, it might be the silver lining, or it might be something that was really digging at you, and you're like, something is wrong, but I don't know what it is. And then I write it and it comes out, and then I can talk about
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
There's something powerful in writing in mental health in all capacities, whether you're doing like workbook pages or journaling pages, or you're writing out exercises and you're working on tools. It really changes something in the mind, in the brain. You are creating and making it concrete and saying, this is really a feeling I'm having. For me, what's been helpful is sometimes I've had to write things and show them to my husband instead of me speaking them, because
Mhm.
there's always been this fear in me. Um, and it just comes from childhood and stuff, uh, and being a kid and having that, like, people assuming your thoughts, feelings, and they assume that they know what it is. And so before you even have a chance to say it all, they can cut you off. And I'm an introvert by nature anyway. So it's like, oh, you cut me off too many times. Why would I say anything else? Yeah, yeah, exactly. You and
Mhm.
me we're like this. Um, so, so if you get stifled enough by no fault of anyone else, they're just living their life, right? Um,
Mhm.
it becomes very hard to then trust what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And it can be kind of scary depending upon your situation in your life. Uh, were you abused when you try to speak or when you try to talk? And so uh, when I I encounter someone, I feel like I have to write this thing down so I can just kind of go here, or read it in the book and go, it says hold on, it says in here, to kind of figure out and formulate how I'm feeling about things. So this is just a huge and powerful topic. I love it. Let me just say, Janae says, I'm learning that my son has severe social anxiety. So this will really help
Mhm.
him. Of course, he gets it from me. So I
Mhm.
use these as well. Thank you, Janae. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because yes, these are tools that anyone can use. Kids can use them, parents, adults, everything. We all can use this.
Exactly. I'm also a fan of therapy workbooks. Something else that my counselor recommended. I'm so thankful for my counselor. And they have them for so many different, trying to think of the word, conditions, for tailored. There's bipolar disorder and anger management, anxiety. So I use the dialectical behavioral therapy workbooks. also known as DBT, and it's so much simpler than it sounds because it's a lot about mindfulness and again just being within the moment and understanding yourself and being able to better communicate with others, which is a big deal for me because if you would have asked me to do this 2 years ago, I would have said, heck no, you are hilarious. Do you know who you're talking to? So this whole process has definitely helped me self-esteem wise. Almost 2 years ago, my psychiatrist on my intake wrote no self-esteem. And my best friend was driving me home from that appointment. I was like, no self-esteem, really? I think I have low self-esteem. She's like, no, sweetie, you have no self-esteem. And it was just really eye-opening. And best friend is a super sweetheart. She's wonderful, so supportive, has helped me through so much, just like family. So
Sometimes we have to start.
important.
Yeah, we have to start at zero and
Yeah.
just, it's a great thing to start at zero sometimes.
You can
like,
only go up.
yeah, right. We can only go up. I mean, I think I would mess up if just having a little bit of self-esteem. You know, it's like, I don't even know where to begin. You're teachable at that point.
There you go. I like it.
So let's see. Do you have any kind of truth bombs or gold nuggets that you have learned along the way that you would kind of like, oh, I get that now, or oh, I see this now? You have any of those kind of things? Those are that's kind of a big question, I know. So take your time.
I think one of the biggest things I've learned is a lot of the time when we are going through something rough or we just have this internal monologue and we don't understand why if something's so negative. For me, it was alcohol. I don't know why. I don't drink. I just always had a really negative connotation toward alcohol, pretty much any kind. And it's something that I've really worked on in the past couple of years with my awesome support system, like I talked about with my husband, my family, my friends, my counselor, my psychiatrist. And now I'll buy beer or wine for my husband just because. But to me, that was something of learning, sometimes something isn't what you think it is. It's just that value you're assigning. So maybe you're the one that needs to do the work and not try to encourage everyone else to like drink less around you or be considerate. For a while, you have to find that balance. But that was one of my truth bombs. And it was probably something that kind of shattered me in a way at the first time because it's like, wait a minute, I'm the one being rude. I'm being inconsiderate. I don't want to be that person. And when I look back at it, sometimes I really have a hard time going, wow, I really hurt people with my words and I didn't mean to and I didn't realize it. And again, the same support system, we're like, well, honey, you were learning and you were coming from a hurt place and it's understandable. You're doing better now and we're here for you. So that means a lot.
Yeah, that's a big thing, support systems.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at the beginning of my, I had a panic disorder and anxiety disorder since I was a kid. And so, one of the things that I said when I started helping people, I was a clinical hypnotherapist. And I say so don't anybody ask me for a session. We saw thousands of people. I'm completely burnt out. But I had this anxiety disorder. And when I first started my journey, I really looked around and I said, who are you people? Like once that kind of clicked over in my head, one of my truth bombs, one of my gold nuggets is look around you. Who do you see? Are they being supportive? Are they being kind-hearted? Are they loving you? Are they helping you be your best self? Are they being honest with you? Can you trust them? And not because, and I had kind of the opposite problem. I had addiction issues, so I was around all addicted people. And because they kept feeding my addiction, I fed their addiction, and it was just this big mess. And it was all due to self-medicating my anxiety and stuff. So when I looked at everybody, I was like, oh yeah, all y'all got to go. No, and to systematically cut out people who you feel are your best and most enabling friends in any capacity, even if it's not something severe like addiction, it could be something else. That, it could be other types of negative habits that are causing dysfunction, causing pain. And so when I started to systematically, what I found was I got alone really quick. And then I had to get really good with being alone even quicker. And so it's hard because you don't want to blame them for being in your life or say that they are wrong. Instead, it's like, no, I'm just making new choices. So, and I'm sorry, but you don't belong in them. And sometimes as your vibration shifts and as you change, they just kind of fall away. But sometimes those deep cuts are difficult.
Exactly. And congratulations to you for, going through that and getting clean and making those difficult decisions to leave that social circle.
I'm not 100% clean. I mean, I got clean. I got out of the dysfunction. We'll say that. And so now it's just something that, if I want to have some, I can't even drink anymore. Want to have a little sake or something, I'll do that. But it is a balancing act. And so finding that space and loving yourself through it is huge. Let's talk a little bit about self-love. What has been your journey with loving yourself better?
So I definitely started as someone who despised who I was. Just uncomfortable around almost every social circle for the longest time. Felt ignored a lot. And sometimes that wasn't the case. Sometimes that was just mentally, internally. I was really hard on myself. I was always my hardest critic when it came to like art, writing, work, everything.
Yes, I'm with you. Like this, my soul sister.
Soul sister. So I would say through this journey, I definitely practiced a lot of self-care. It's become a priority. I know it's cliche, but it's so important. And it can be so many things. Again, in the therapy workbooks I have, it gives you an entire page of activities to do. So if you like bubble baths, that doesn't have to be your only one, but it's a common one. Same with journaling. But I've definitely become better myself. I like the person I am now. I can nurture who I was and my struggles and know, okay, I came from this person that used to just break down when her husband left to go have a game night because I couldn't take the thoughts in my own head, or I'd go and stay the weekend with my mom or visit my friends and have a dinner out. And it took a long time to realize, you know what? I can enjoy this time by myself. I can look forward to it. I can use it to clean up the house and make that look good because that makes me feel good. I can use it for my hobbies and my passions, which is basically what that came down to. I blogged a lot when he was gone. And he's just a gamer, so he's not like traveling all the time except for conventions. So it was simply just being gone for about 3 to 4 hours at a time that would just drive me nuts and put me in a really bad state. And obviously, I'm not there anymore, and I'm very thankful for it. And I'm someone where now I'm in the point where when I talk about my journey, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be forthright and saying what has happened and how I feel good about all these things, but I don't want it to seem like I'm just tooting my own horn all the time. And other people are like, girl, you toot it.
That's right.
But yes, I definitely have self-love for myself now and compassion for myself and not just for others.
Yeah, that's a struggle for a lot of people, and that feeling, there might be a core feeling or sensation, when that you are experiencing when your husband would leave, and
Mhm.
finding what those threads are and going back to the uh, original pain point, and following that thread through our lives. It's sometimes for us, I think for me and Todd, well, no, for me, it's fear of abandonment and lack of approval. And I think his is lack of approval. And so if we can follow our threads all the way back to the beginning points, and have a counselor or have somebody work with us to
Mhm.
unwind them, it can be really, really powerful, and just, pull on them and let them unravel. And it may not be pretty, it may not feel good. And this is no substitute for any medical advice or attention care or whatever. But I got to give my disclaimer. But it can be really empowering to see, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm not loving myself. I'm not loving him or her in my relationship by trying to keep them, so tight.
Yeah.
And so there's so much in here with this. Self-love is a
Mhm.
struggle for me as well. And it's just kind of a daily thing. You go, all right, am I loving myself today? Nope.
Aw,
How can I? How can I now? Right.
there you go. Yes.
So let's see, what else do we have here? So I don't see any additional comments, but I just want to say, Alicia, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your experience with your community, and saying, hey, I struggle with this. This was hard, or this has been challenging for me. Just having that ability to open that door and to say, you guys aren't alone, because we do feel alone. We feel alone when we are sitting in our house and
Mhm.
having feelings or having emotions or being triggered or whatever it might be. And it's difficult to see outside of it and say, is anybody else feeling this way?
Mhm.
And sometimes Facebook and other platforms aren't necessarily a comforting area, because sometimes they're just lies. There's people, everything's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. And you're like, wait a minute.
True.
Yeah, hold on. I think Mama has something to say for you, or to comment. Morgan K says, I may need a journal on the self-love, coming from someone for years who had a list of all the things he didn't like about me. I might not be that bad. Morgan K, you're not that bad. I promise.
You're wonderful, Mom, and you're super talented.
That's so sweet.
Mama.
Mama, we love you, girl. Thank
Mhm.
you for joining us today.
I've got journals to give.
Perfect. So when is your book coming out? Do you have a date estimated?
Yes, so our uh, estimated publication date is the end of September. Getting very excited.
Woo!
Back from the editor again, so I had my revisions made last time. Last night I went through all of the punctuation and some of the sentences that she reworked. I was like, yes, I love this. This is great. So tonight I'll reread through it. It takes about 4 hours, so it's a pretty quick read. And then I will send it to about 3 proofreaders. So they're trusted and have agreed to proofread for me. One of them even requested to do it. So I'm very thankful for that. And after proofreading, it moves to formatting.
Wow. Boy, you just explained the whole process of publishing a book, man. And then after formatting, and then this is like, there's
I can be long-winded.
Yeah, that's a part of it, and just as a note to those people who are listening, you've done a really great job as far as with the editing process and really getting honed in on it. It's not easy there's I think it's either a book or someone said to kill our darlings, to have all of the paint on the canvas, having shaped it, and then seeing, well, there's that flower there. I love the flower. The flower is so beautiful and amazing. We've got to cut that completely out, to make the painting more beautiful. It's the same way with books. And so, when we're looking at our books, we have to be willing to kill our darlings. And I think you with your editing process and the people that you've been working with in your editing process, it sounds to me that you are right on track.
Thank you. Yes, the editor I'm working with, her name's Dana. She is wonderful. She's very compassionate with the way she gives the feedback and the way she changes it. So when I got it back the first time, I was like, this is still my story, but I like it even better.
Yes,
and it was
that
great
is the
so
telltale sign of a good editor. They don't change your voice. They just make it clearer. That's huge. I'm going to get her name from you when we get off here. So don't go away when I end the broadcast. Okay. So I want to talk to you some more. Giving a shout out to Carolyn Mackey, who just popped on and gave us some, I don't know what these are, clapping hands. I can't. All right. Thank you for the clapping hands. I think that's what it is. Do you have any closing thoughts? And also, as you gave a shout out to your editor, I know there's somebody else you'd like to give a shout out to. So tell us about that person.
Shanda Trofe. Without her, I wouldn't have thought about even writing the book. Well, I thought about it. I thought about it for 2 years, but I wouldn't have thought it was possible. I found her Jumpstart Your Book Writing Journey, which was 5 days. And at the end of the 5th day, you either wrote an outline or a chapter. I'm trying to remember now because it was so long ago. And I just learned so much from her about social media and presenting yourself and just getting through all of the self-doubt, because when you have that self-doubt, it's going to stop you from writing. And I'm just so thankful for Shanda, and I'm also thankful for you. I wouldn't have met you without Shanda either.
Well, we are very appreciative of you, and thank you for sharing your message, sharing your words, having the courage to step out and do this. It's not an easy thing. There is something in the back of our little, lizard brains that says we don't want to get killed with sticks and rocks when we speak our truth. So to get out there and say, you know what, I'm going to go against a core belief in my brain that is older than willpower. And I'm going to go completely against that and say yes to my message, because I believe it's going to change lives. Right? Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for being that. Thank you for having that courage.
Thank you. It's been in return helpful to me, because one of the things that I did was just sharing my post about, oh, I just got back from my appointment, or I just came back from the hospital. I just went and got this test done. And I was getting messages from people that I barely spoke with saying, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing this. Like, I've been struggling with this kind of behind closed doors, and this really helped me. People making appointments, just going to the gym, just making these different changes and these small things, and just being like, yeah, because of that, you just made me think about it, and I can make this a priority. So it's in turn been very helpful for me. And I've always been someone who wants to help others and support others. something I asked one of my friends about because she's a counselor. I was like, is there a way I could do peer support even though I don't have like a clinical degree or something? Just someone that can be like, hey, you know what? You got someone, I'd like to just check in on them and be like, did you go to your appointment today? Or how are you feeling today? I
That's
kind of did
love.
that with our support group. I'm in a group, what's it called? Me, myself, and anxiety. And sometimes people talk about depression as well, which I also have. But my counselor changed my diagnosis from major depressive disorder to dysthymia. So it's saying that it's not major anymore. It's just, recurrent medications. So feeling much, much, much better. And I'm on medications as well, which I fought for a long time not to go on. And I wouldn't want to go off the medications now because they're working just as hard as I am.
Yeah, Western medicine has a place in our home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. My dog is on hypothyroid medication every day, and it's changing her life. Carolyn says, yeah, right. Carolyn says, we can do this.
Yes, we can.
She's also in the process of writing her book as well. So Carolyn says, amen for Western medicine. I think in many circles that we have in variety, we're mainly from a holistic type background, Eastern medicine or Eastern philosophy of medicine. And what I learned along the way is I think I initially was like, no, down with Western medicine. And what I've learned is that, no, it's all Zen, man. Like it's all Zen, like whatever we need, it may be wrong. It may not be the right type of medicine, or we might need to adjust things as we go along, but ultimately it's all good. Everything is good and it's all for our good. So, if you guys need help, seek it. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a funny story to share.
Go ahead.
So the first time I went on medication, it was prescribed to me by my primary care physician because I wasn't ready to see a psychiatrist. And it was a medication that was the most commonly prescribed for depression and anxiety and with the least amount of side effects. And when they gave it to me, it was totally wrong. I was falling asleep around 6:30 or 7 o'clock, and my husband, who I love to pieces, but I got to call him out for it. Pretty much everyone he meets, he has to show this album on his phone called Weird Places Isha Sleeps. Isha's my nickname. Because when I was on that medication and for several months after coming off, I would fall asleep in the weirdest places. It was almost like having narcolepsy. So one night he claimed, he has a picture of it, so he has proof. We were going to bed and I was in my pajamas and a hoodie. And he was like, okay, honey, let's go to bed. And I was like, no, I must sleep in this laundry basket. No idea why, but I apparently got in the laundry basket and put up my knees like this to try to fit, because I'm 5'8". Don't easily fit into a laundry basket. But that's one of the many pictures that he has in this embarrassing album of me. I fell asleep eating a sandwich. I fell asleep on the floor.
It's just dangerous.
Yeah. So I didn't do much because I was just so tired from being on the wrong medication. But the next time, got it right. Went to the psychiatrist, did the gene site test, which I know results can vary, and all of that, but it worked really well for me. I got a list of medications that would most likely metabolize well for me with like the least amount of gene interruption. And then I had another list of the one with the most gene interruption, and that medication was on that one for the most interference.
That is so interesting, and I think you can use some tools, Eastern and Western, and holistic and homeopathic in tandem together when you're researching what's best. And but yeah, that's a great story. I think I remember getting drunk once and sleeping in a laundry basket. Good days. Well, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much for being with us. And what are some closing thoughts that you have for our listeners here, our millions of viewers?
Thank you for having me. Definitely reach out to anyone that you're comfortable talking with if you're just having trouble, because you just need that support. If you don't know someone who can give you that support, that's rough, I understand. But there are other options. There's support groups, which you can either go to in person, depending on where you're at with COVID, or go online like I do. And there's also providers and crisis lines and people just to talk to. Don't write anything off just because of fear. Really think about it and how things can help you. I declined counseling 3 times until the third time where I was there. They're like, no, you're in the hospital again. And granted, it wasn't any attempts or anything. It's just that my heart was flipping out because I was so worked up that my physical body was not healthy because of that. They're like, you absolutely have to go and get this figured out. So just don't give up on yourself. Don't let the fears overwhelm you and control you. Really just try to be comfortable with who you are and know that you're loved and supported and that you matter.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Elicia. Her book is coming out. Tell us the title again.
Share a Smile, Thriving in Life and Treatment.
Perfect. Perfect. Guys, if you're listening to this on YouTube and watching us on YouTube, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button so you'll know when we're going to be doing another interview like this. And other fun tools that we've got for authors and writers and those of you out there who are wanting to make a difference with your words and do it effectively and easily and for less, which I think is also a good thing. I'm Kyra with As You Wish Publishing. Elicia, thank you so much for joining us. And those of you who are listening, we love you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you reaching out and asking me to be here. This made my day, my week, everything.
Oh, and Carolyn says one last little thing. Carolyn says, you have lovely energy, Elicia. And yes, you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I watched your video on miracles, and it was awesome. You do as well.
Carolyn shares on YouTube. Carolyn shares on YouTube. It's great. And also, yes, she and I talked about miracles with that, didn't we?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much. We hope you tune in again, and take care.